Sirius's death was one of the most tragic in the entire Harry Potter series. I remember when I was reading the book, it was so sudden, I didn't even realize what had just happened. In the books, it was Sirius falling through the veil. It was not even a Avada Kedavra curse. So I was not even sure what had just happened. I remember the part when Harry was packing his trunk and he discovers a gift from Sirius. Sirius had given that to him at Grimmauld Place during Christmas. The gift was the two-way mirror. Harry discovers a note with it. I remember him reading the note, getting all excited. He was thinking he'll get to talk to Sirius again. The note simply said, "Use it if you need me. Alright, this is a two-way mirror. I've got the other one of the pair. If you need to speak to me, just say my name into it. You'll appear in my mirror, and I'll be able to talk to yours." James and I used to use them when we were in separate detentions. I remember Harry calls out to Sirius after this. He speaks into the mirror. Sirius. That was the moment when I felt the weight of what had just happened. I was actually sad for days. I remember my parents wondering what has happened to me. It was a heavy heart feeling. Anyways, coming back to the story. You know how close Sirius came to not dying in Order of the Phoenix? When Harry and the Dumbledore's army were fighting at the Ministry, the members of the Order of the Phoenix arrived to rescue them. Sirius is along with them. Dumbledore arrives a bit late, but he is just ramping up Death Eaters, like left and right. Only Bellatrix was left, and we know what Bellatrix did. If Dumbledore would have just come a few minutes earlier, Sirius would have survived. But actually, we are getting too far ahead. Let's roll back to earlier that evening, when Harry and the Dumbledore's army took Thestrals from Hogwarts all the way to London to the Ministry. At this time, Snape was aware that Harry had had this dream that Sirius is trapped somewhere at the Ministry. And Snape knew that Harry had not returned from the Forbidden Forest. If he would have just informed the Order of the Phoenix a little earlier, the Order members could have caught Harry right outside the Ministry gate, could have stopped all the kids going inside. This would have prevented the entire fight. Imagine Voldemort waiting inside and it's like just waiting, standing there, thinking, oh, when is Harry going to arrive? And it's like next morning he realizes, okay, Harry is not coming. Maybe at that moment Voldemort could have gone inside directly and collected the prophecy. Actually, we're getting too far ahead still. Imagine if Harry had continued on his plan to meet the Order members at Hogwarts after having that dream. Harry should have understood, and at least Hermione, that going to the Ministry does not mean you can save Sirius. Instead of flying to the Ministry, they could have considered contacting Ron's parents at the Burrow, or even going back to Snape. He is at Hogwarts. He is an Order member. He is like 5 minutes away from you. Try and contact him again. You're just at the Forbidden Forest. It'll take you 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe to get to him. And he can reach out to other Order members and try to have a backup ready for you. Even if Sirius is trapped and you want to go rescue him, at least call out for some backup. What happens when Harry gets the prophecy in his hand? His immediate next concern is to save the Dumbledore's army members. He has put their life at risk. Even if Sirius was there at the Ministry, you were doing the exact same thing. You were putting all the Dumbledore army members' lives at risk. Or maybe none of this was required. Harry could have just opened the gift that Sirius gave him and just used that to contact Sirius. That would have meant that Harry would have had that dream. He would have run back to his room, contacted Sirius. Once assured that Sirius is safe, he would have just thought that that is some regular dream that he had, maybe, and just let it go. And Voldemort would not know what has happened. He would be waiting there all evening, all the Red Readers waiting there. Any of these actions from Harry's side would have ensured that Sirius was safe. But actually, I had a completely different theory. Voldemort went through all that effort to empty the entire Ministry. There were no Aurors there. There was no Ministry employees there. No security guards. And on top of that, there was no Order member guarding the prophecy. If you remember, some of the other Order member were guarding the prophecy all around the year. Just on this one particular day, it happens that there are no Order members. But I have an alternate theory on how Voldemort managed to empty the entire Ministry. If you want to watch it, you can go watch it now. But for those who want to continue here, fair warning, this is a spoiler for that theory. So TLDR of that theory is that Voldemort goes after Mr. Weasley. He knows Mr. Weasley is part of the Order members. He knows that Mr. Weasley was guarding the prophecy that night Nagini attacked him. He just realizes that this is like an easy target. Why leave him be? So he attacks Mr. Weasley at his home, the Burrow, and Bellatrix kills him. And on the day of his funeral, since then most of the Ministry is empty, most of the Aurors are guarding at the place where the Minister of Magic is, where all the Order members and all the other Ministry of Magic members have collected. What does Voldemort do with that opportunity? He attacks the Ministry of Magic, of course. There are very few security guards there. He can easily take them out, prevents the alarm from being raised, and then goes to the Hall of Prophecy by himself to collect the prophecy. In that theory, Voldemort actually caused the death of Mr. Weasley, not Sirius. So Sirius is alive. How will that change the story? Now our story starts for Half-Blood Prince. As you remember, in the original storyline, the first thing that happens is Fudge has to resign because he was being a completely useless Prime Minister. Voldemort has given orders to Draco Malfoy to kill Dumbledore. He still hates Lucius Malfoy for losing his diary. Narcissa is suffering through all of this. His son is getting tortured. His husband is getting humiliated every other day. As in the original storyline, Narcissa goes to Snape to ask for a favor for an unbreakable vow. And the same thing happens here. Snape agrees to help Malfoy complete his task in case Malfoy fails in front of Bellatrix and Narcissa. In the original storyline, much later we find that Dumbledore had arranged for his death with Snape. Now, a quick side note here. In Harry Potter, we have seen a lot of very good characters go to waste completely. Barty Crouch Jr. was such an amazing character, but we only saw Mad Eye Moody for the entire year. And then at the end, Barty Crouch Jr. is just gone. Think about Sirius Black. We got to know him barely, and then he's dead. Lupin, Tonks. These are very amazing characters that were very well built, but never used to their full potential in the war against Voldemort. Now, back to the story. Dumbledore knows the situation outside Hogwarts is deteriorating day to day, and pretty soon he will be gone. He has already planned that with Snape. So, what is he gonna do with this 1 year? Of course, he's gonna take special classes for Harry, but what else can he do to help all the other students at Hogwarts, many of whom are Muggle born students? So, I think he's gonna do a couple of things for them. He's gonna arrange for some special classes. Number one is going to be dueling. You remember the dueling club from Chamber of Secrets? Yes, Lockhart will be back to teach. I'm kidding, of course. Not Lockhart, but imagine who else could be there to teach all the students dueling. Now, it's still hard for Dumbledore to hire teachers. Nobody wants to join Hogwarts and semi declare that they are part of the Order of the Phoenix. They're so close to Dumbledore, putting a target up on their heads. Nobody wants to do that. So, what's the solution? Of course, if you're thinking Snape will be there to teach dueling, that's correct, but he needs a sparring partner, right? Last time it was Lockhart, this time it will be Sirius Black. He's already a member of Order of the Phoenix. I think he will take up the challenge any day. He will get the opportunity to be close to Harry to protect him. That's right, Sirius is going to join Hogwarts again. One more reason I think Sirius might be a good choice because Snape is already busy with so many things. He is a double agent. He has to go attend Death Eater meetings as well as Order of the Phoenix meetings. And he has to teach Defense Against Dark Arts for real. So I think at least for the dueling classes, definitely he can be joined by Sirius Black. Now it'll be some amazing scenes. This will be some awesome opportunity for students to learn real dueling. So it's better to hire someone who is an order member who will also do everything he can to keep Harry safe. I can just imagine the first dueling lessons, Snape and Sirius going at each other, back to back, curses flying left to right. They can't use the killing curse, but everything under that, they're just going at it. They'll be blocking, counter cursing, all that going on. It'll be a tough job for students to identify the curses and the counter curses they're applying on the fly, a lot of which will be completely non-verbal. Demos will be fast-paced and real-time. People will be learning how to do these duels, and they will also get the chance to practice it after that on their own. Will there be some accidents? We can be sure there will be. So, what is the solution? I think the other special class that students need to learn is healing classes. Basics, right? How to do first aid in the magical world. So, I think Madame Pomfrey's basic healing classes will get added, obviously. And here I would like to go on a tangent. I think Winky the house elf does not have a calling to cook at Hogwarts. She's not going to stay at the kitchen. But I can go on a backstory which is just a headcanon. I think when Barty Crouch Jr. was young, his mother would definitely be caring and nurturing, and he would be doing everything he can to impress his father. I think his mother was kind natured, caring, loving, at least towards him. So I think if we can extend that and imagine her mother being kind natured, caring, and loving towards animals, nurturing them, healing them in case they get hurt, and I think she would pass that on to Barty Crouch Jr. I think imagining his childhood where he is actually a caring, nurturing person and growing up to be a Death Eater who's completely devoted to one cause and one person makes up an interesting story. I think Winky would have picked up all of these talents while she was working at the Crouch House and continued to work under Madame Pomfrey. So instead of joining the kitchen, she will find her place at Hogwarts in the hospital wing. She would be helping people recover. It would be a fun thing to go on the side for most of the year at Hogwarts. I think it makes sense. Crouch Jr. spending his entire childhood trying to impress his father by being nice, kind, and caring and all of that never working, and then doing the completely opposite and working absolutely fine for Voldemort. He obviously sees a father he never had in Voldemort and worships him like crazy. Talk about father issues. In parallel, we know that Harry is pursuing an idea that Draco is a Death Eater. He's trying to identify what Draco is doing for most of the year. He spent some time trying to pursue that. So, what else? I think Dumbledore needs to take care of a couple of more things. I think from Dumbledore's side, he was busy for most of the year collecting a lot of information about Voldemort. But I think he can squeeze in some time for maybe a couple of classes for Hermione and Ron. I think he should definitely take extra classes for them. Dumbledore knows what journey these two are going to embark on very soon. I think it would make sense that he pays special attention and care to both of them. Now, as per the details of what Dumbledore is going to teach them, let's keep that a mystery for Deathly Hallows. One of the things that I didn't like about Deathly Hallows was Harry, Ron, and Hermione did not know how to destroy a Horcrux, and for some reason, Dumbledore had not told them. That was so weird. It almost felt like a soap opera. Like, why is this information not given? Just give them that information, and there'll be so much confusion cleared up. And it is not like it's something that would not pop up in Harry's or Hermione's head. For the entire year of Half-Blood Prince, Harry, Ron, or Hermione never questioned how the Horcrux is destroyed. But I think Sirius being alive, this question should come from him. When Harry will tell Sirius that there are special classes that Dumbledore is going to take for him, and over the year tell him what Dumbledore has taught him, then naturally Sirius can raise this question that how do you destroy these things? And that's a valid question. And once that question comes to your mind, you're never gonna not think about it. So I think maybe in the original storyline, Dumbledore was saving up that information to give to Harry once he returns back with the Horcrux from the cave. Maybe that was the plan that Dumbledore had. But what a weird piece of information to hide. It's just like one sentence. Hey Harry, you can use this sword to destroy Horcruxes. Why? Because it has basilisk venom. That's how you destroy Horcruxes. It takes like 2 minutes. Now, Half-Blood Prince has a lot of things going on in the background as well. For example, there are a lot of love stories. I think they will mostly stay the same. Harry gets together with Ginny. Ron, for a while, goes out with Lavender Brown, but that ends swiftly. And then he's back with Hermione. None of that needs to change just because Sirius has survived. Slughorn is still going to host his Slug Club parties. Harry will try to dodge as many as he can, and this time he can take Sirius's help. One more thing that Harry and the team learns this year is apparition. And that was some amazing thing that they learned because it comes really handy next year. Now, Malfoy is still a Death Eater. It's still his task to kill Dumbledore. I think he'll still make the same attempts and fail at that very miserably. Which brings me to the fight between Harry and Malfoy. In the original storyline, we learned that Malfoy was so much advanced in comparison to Harry and dueling. Harry was just barely able to survive because of the Sectumsempra curse. I think pretty much the same thing will follow this time, and Snape is going to catch Harry. And he's going to ask him to bring his potions book. Harry will try and hide it in the room of requirements. He will spot the diadem, which is another Horcrux there. Now, Snape will discover, along with us, that Harry has another nickname, Ronald Weasley. If you don't remember the context, Ron wrote his name on his copy of the potions book with the spell checking quill. And when the charm had faded, it ended up changing Ron's name to Ronald Weasley. This is a funny little tidbit left in by J.K. Rowling. That brings us to the end of the story. Dumbledore invites Harry to join him on the Horcrux hunt. Harry takes the invisibility cloak with him and gives the remaining Felix Felicis to Ron and Hermione to share with other DA members and stand guard outside the room of requirements. He had just learned that whatever Malfoy was trying to do, as he has probably succeeded at that. Now Harry is going to go with Dumbledore to the cave. As in the original storyline, they're going to cross the lake using the boat that Dumbledore retrieves using a hidden chain. That was some like amazingly cool magic. Things that we can't even see, that Harry doesn't even spot. Dumbledore can see them. They'll get to the small island, and Dumbledore is going to drink that potion again. And finally, they will retrieve the locket. While all of this is going on, Malfoy has figured out how to fix the vanishing cabinet, and the Death Eaters come and attack Hogwarts. Fight breaks out under the astronomy tower, and it continues when Harry and Dumbledore arrive. This time, the fight is going to be different. This time, Sirius Black is there. More Order members will join them very soon. That means the fight is going to have much more resistance. This time, the Death Eaters are barely winning. We all know what transpires on top of the astronomy tower. They use the Dark Mark to lure Dumbledore there, and Dumbledore loses his wand in an effort to save Harry. Draco now has the loyalty of the Elder Wand, although he does not know it yet. And frankly, he has bigger things to be concerned about. He has cornered Dumbledore and has no sense of how to get the job done. Dumbledore is trying to talk Draco out of the whole deal, offering to save his family. That's when all the Death Eaters arrive, and then quickly followed by Snape. At this point, Dumbledore asks, Severus, please. That was the moment Snape casts the Avada Kedavra curse. At this point, Harry is rooted. Dumbledore had cast a body binding curse at him. He can't speak, he can't scream, he wants to. But soon after Dumbledore's death, he's free. But he doesn't realize that he's free. He's still dumbfounded of what had just happened. Now, beyond this point, all the Death Eaters are fleeing from Hogwarts. They run down the staircase, and the fight resumes. In the original storyline, Harry chases after Snape. Same thing happens here, but this time we have Sirius chasing after Fenrir Greyback, and Lupin is with him. I think Fenrir will get cornered, and he will run into the Forbidden Forest, swiftly followed by Sirius Black and Lupin, and they are gonna bring him down for good. He has terrified people for long enough. Harry is still left alone, going behind Snape. Harry tries to cast the Sectumsempra curse on Snape. Snape blocks that curse and turns around and tells Harry his real identity. He is the Half-Blood Prince, and he leaves Harry behind on the grass. Now, Dumbledore's funeral will be held with all the same arrangements. In the original storyline, it took a while for Harry, Ron, and Hermione to figure out what does R.A.B stands for, but this time Sirius is alive. How long do you think he will take to figure that out? We'll find out in the next one. A few open questions remain. Will Harry go back to Privet Drive? Does it even make sense to go there? Harry knows that his protection that his mother gave him is going to expire within a month. And anyways, in the original storyline, the Order of the Phoenix members take Harry out of Privet Drive before his birthday. So is 10 to 15 days of extra protection really worth it? Really worth putting Harry's life at that much risk? I don't think it makes sense for Harry to return to Privet Drive this year. So I think he won't. And I think he'll stay with Sirius Black this time. Now, if Harry doesn't go to Privet Drive, would we ever get the scene with the 7 Harry Potters? I think it was a very fun scene to watch. And that's when Hedwig died. So if that doesn't happen, maybe Hedwig survives. Now, as everybody has found out that Snape is a traitor, I think they need to stop using Grimmauld Place as the headquarters for Order of the Phoenix. I think they will stop doing that immediately. Then what would happen to Creature? I think at the start of the year, since Sirius Black moved to Hogwarts to teach dueling, I think at that point only, Creature would have joined Hogwarts. It makes more sense. In the original storyline, Snape tells Voldemort what date Harry is going to be moved from Privet Drive. That made no sense to me. Snape is not supposed to know this information. How did he get that information in the first place? Like, Voldemort can't expect Snape to know this now. Snape had betrayed the Order of the Phoenix. Whatever decision Order of the Phoenix is going to have, they're not going to tell Snape. So Snape should not be aware. That was so weird to me. To prove his loyalty, what loyalty? You just killed Dumbledore. You already proved your loyalty. You don't need to stay in the good books of Voldemort anymore. You are in the best books with Voldemort. Also, there are a few more details in Deathly Hallows that makes no sense to me. You remember when Harry was in the Forbidden Forest when Voldemort had asked him to come over during the battle for Hogwarts? And then Voldemort casts the Avada Kedavra curse again on Harry, and Harry goes to have a very nice discussion with Dumbledore at King Cross. When Harry comes back, he's lying on the grass, and Voldemort asks Narcissa to check on him. Narcissa actually checks on Harry, finds out that he's alive, asks him quietly, "Is Draco alive?" And Harry says yes. And then Narcissa declares to everybody, "Yeah, Harry's dead." It's like, what risk are you taking? If anybody else checks on Harry, and they're gonna find out that Harry is alive, you are dead. Your son is dead. Voldemort is going to take care of both of you immediately. So you should not be taking that level of risk. For what reason? It made no sense. Voldemort even goes ahead and performs the Cruciatus curse on Harry. If that would have worked, it doesn't actually work in the original storyline because for some reason the wand is now loyal to Harry. We find out about that much later, but that's why the Cruciatus curse doesn't work on Harry, which is, again, so weird. But Narcissa doesn't know that. She's not aware that the Cruciatus curse is not going to work. And she doesn't know if anybody else is going to check on Harry. If anybody else would have checked on Harry, if any other Death Eater would have performed the Cruciatus curse, imagine if Bellatrix would have just gone crazy and just tried anything on Harry. And they would have detected that Harry is alive. Narcissa would be dead, along with Malfoy. So I think I'll change some of these details. I think I'll add some more context to that. I think we'll cover that in Deathly Hallows. And there are a couple of more things. There was a point when Aberforth had that mirror that he bought from Mundungus. First of all, Mundungus had it. That's weird. Like a two-way mirror. If you don't have the second copy, why are you selling it to anybody? Let's say Mundungus is selling it. Aberforth was actually looking for it. He knew what that mirror could do. But even after that, imagine the way that mirror works. You need to call out someone's name to actually appear on their mirror. Harry doesn't do that. And imagine if Aberforth would have missed that call when Harry picked out that mirror and Aberforth would not have noticed it. Imagine at that moment what would have happened. Harry would be dead at Malfoy Manor. The story would have ended much more earlier, with Voldemort winning, of course. Anyways, there are like these small details, like 2 dozen of them, that you'd like to fix in Deadly Hallows. It's one of the books where I was really annoyed. Ron could speak parcel tongue. It is so annoying. And the entire thing with the will. Why not just leave those particular pieces of items with McGonagall? McGonagall can give them to Harry. Why go through the entire ministry? Why not write more clear details? Just the entire thing with the will was added because for some reason Dumbledore could not give clear instructions. Why can't he give clear instructions? Because it's going through the ministry and the ministry would know what he's trying to say. So to prevent all of that, Dumbledore gave very little information. That was not needed. You have McGonagall. Any other information that you want to give about Deathly Hallows and all of the story and whatever, you can just write a letter. Give it to Minerva. Just as simple as that. There was one more weird thing. Hermione at some point mentions that she got all these books on Horcruxes from Dumbledore's private office. She just called the summoning charm and they just flew out and appeared right outside her window. I was like, ugh, that should not have happened. That should not have worked. It's absolutely not supposed to work that easily. Yeah, if you can just call things like that from Dumbledore's office, then great, just summon everything else. That should not have worked, absolutely. I think this was just plot hole fixes that J.K. Rowling had to add. Since this time we are saying that Dumbledore has taken much more active role in trying to pass on the information that he has because he's aware that he's going to die very soon. So I think this time it's going to be much more different. But there are a couple of details that I've added as well. Dumbledore is taking special classes for Ron and Hermione. What did he cover in that? Hope you are enjoying the story so far. If you have not seen my take on how Sirius could have survived in the previous book, In Order of the Phoenix, you can check it out now. Join me for the next part in Deathly Hallows. See you there. Bye bye.